Hello, welcoming
Hello.
you to America's, well, it's not America's, Brits American tour. Oh, I'm so
Brilliant.
good. Yeah, I'm so good. Why no military on Earth could possibly survive invading the United States? Now,
Okay. Where's this place then? It looks like some kind of Disneyland.
well, I think it
Fine.
is. I think it's that castle I bought in my dreams the other night. I'm not sure. Uh,
Okay.
but yeah,
Why no military on Earth could survive invading the United States? Okay. Well,
yeah.
it's not just the United States. It's not the United States Army you're invading. It's the entire population because they're all pretty much armed as well, ready to
Well, this is
have a
it. I
dust
mean,
up.
this is not only is United States, probably the most biggest and powerful country in the world,
Yep.
but we've done military videos before on our other channel. That's Britpops React. If you haven't checked that one out,
Yep.
check that out. So we know the size of their military force and their bases around the world. And their support, including our support and lots of other support around the world that they've got as part of NATO as well. So,
All right.
all
Well,
right,
let's inform ourselves and get it from the horse's mouth here. Who is
let's
this
do
coming
it.
from?
This is coming from Law Made Casual.
Okay, cheers.
Picture every country as a medieval castle, complete with towering walls, secret traps, and all sorts of defenses to protect the crown. In this scenario, the United States stands out as the toughest castle in the world. So, when
Okay.
someone asks, what would it really take to invade the United States? It opens up a fascinating conversation about how geography, demographics, and military strength come together to make the US one of the hardest countries to invade in modern history. But to understand why
Well, you got
invading
Canada
America is so
bordering it as well,
difficult,
haven't you?
we need to start with what makes invasions successful in the first place. Military historians point to several key factors: the element of surprise, manageable supply lines, and crucially, the ability to establish a foothold and expand
Yeah.
from there. It just so happens that America's unique geographic position eliminates almost every advantage that has made invasions in the past possible. Let's start with the most obvious barrier: the oceans. The United States sits between two of the world's largest bodies of water. The Atlantic Ocean stretches
true.
roughly 3,000 miles to Europe, while the Pacific spans an even more formidable 5,000 miles to Asia.
Yeah.
But it's not just about distance, it's about what that distance means for a would-be invader.
Time,
You
innit?
see, modern
Yeah.
naval warfare depends heavily on supply chains, fuel, and the ability to maintain communication across vast distances. Any naval force attempting to cross either ocean to invade America would be operating at the extreme limits of its logistical capabilities. Consider this: the D-Day invasion, one of the most successful amphibious assaults in history, involved crossing just 100 miles of the English Channel. Roughly
true.
speaking, it required approximately 156,000 Allied troops, around 5,000 ships, and months of preparation, all supported by established bases in Britain. Now imagine scaling that operation across 3,000 to 5,000 miles of open ocean,
Yeah.
with no friendly territory to stage from. The logistics behind such an invasion become even more daunting when you consider detection. Modern satellite surveillance, radar networks, and maritime patrol aircraft make it virtually impossible to
Yeah.
move large naval forces without anybody noticing. Any invasion fleet would be spotted days, if not weeks, before reaching American shores, giving US forces more than enough time to prepare defensive positions.
I mean, we sort of seen this before, but there's no chance, is there, from a at sea invasion? It's no chance. There's
No,
not going to happen.
and that's what
Either
I'm saying.
Mexico's border or Canada's border, you'd have to have a big line of. We've seen it recently with Russia into Ukraine.
Yep.
You need to go from land to land. It's the only way you can, back up and have that. Exactly what he said. It's the supply chain to your
Supply chain.
front
Yeah,
line.
most definitely. And I mean, we saw that when doing the sort of liberating the Falkland Islands. How long that took for the initial land forces to get down there. Um, it was only just about within range for bombing for Vulcan bombers taking off. They were literally flying on empty on the way back. So tactically, logistically, there is nowhere for them to stage
No.
to invade. You'd have to invade Canada first, or the Canadians uprise and they've had enough of the Americans and decide to go for it. But good luck on that one.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's I mean, anything sort of crossing any of those large, vast, open seas would be intercepted straight away, wouldn't they?
Yeah. It's too vast,
But what about launching an invasion from neighboring countries? After all, the United States shares borders with Canada and Mexico. Surely that creates vulnerability, right? Unfortunately for any invader, they're deeply integrated into American military and economic systems. Canada is a NATO member and one of America's closest security partners. Mexico, while not in NATO, has extensive military cooperation agreements with the US and depends heavily on American trade. For
Yeah.
any hostile nation to use these countries as invasion routes, they would first need to conquer or coerce them. In other words, they would essentially have to launch two separate military campaigns before even reaching American territory.
Yeah.
This would require force projections of unprecedented scale and would trigger immediate American response. But let's imagine, hypothetically, that all of that somehow became possible. Even then, the geographic challenges are staggering. An invasion from the north would have to cross the Canadian Shield, a massive area of rocky terrain and forests, then navigate the Great Lakes region. The US military could easily cut supply lines by controlling key transportation hubs like Winnipeg or Thunder Bay, effectively isolating any northern advance. From the south, invaders would face a large concentration of American military power. Recent deployments have placed thousands of American troops along the Mexican border. Any large-scale military movement would once again be detected immediately, and the attacking force would have to advance through some of the most challenging terrain in North America, including the Sonoran and Chihuahuan deserts. But here's where America's defensive advantages become even more pronounced. Let's say the invading force somehow established a foothold on American soil. They would immediately confront what you could call a natural defensive line. The United States is essentially divided by a series of geographic barriers that would force any invading army to fight for every mile of advance. The Rocky Mountain chain runs like a spine through the western part of the country, creating natural choke points that favor America. The Mississippi River system divides the country into distinct
Look at
regions,
that.
each requiring separate river crossings under fire. Military history shows us how devastating river crossings can be. During the Civil War, battles like Fredericksburg and Antietam demonstrated the enormous casualties that result from forced river crossings against prepared defenses. Now imagine attempting such crossings against modern military technology, precision artillery, air support, and guided munitions, all directed by satellite surveillance and real-time intelligence.
You see, for me, I mean, it's clear at this point, coming into America, it's not going to happen, right? So your biggest threat really is insider threats. People that are already in America doing stuff that could impact, Americans from within. That's the only way you would ever get around it.
And of course, I mean, that was a massive part of the Second World War, wasn't it, with the SOB, Special Operations Branch. They were sort of mercenaries operating inland, disrupting supply lines, train routes, bridges, things like that. They were in there infiltrating, sort of preparing for the D-Day landing. So but again, that would you'd need a lot of people.
You would. That's
cause
only just
some kind of disruption, isn't it?
Yeah, you'd be more like an annoying fly, really, just getting to be swatted rather than anything else.
And then you'd have the force of the entire sort of military might and intelligence sort of hunting you down anyway. So good luck with that one.
There is absolutely no shot of sustaining an invasion in this case. But perhaps America's most unique defensive advantage is its civilian population. Specifically, its relationship with firearms. The United States has the highest rate of civilian gun ownership in the world, with 120.5 firearms for
Let's go back because I've only ever seen
It has
America.
the highest rate of
So this is civilian guns.
Falkland Islands.
Falkland
620
Islands. Second,
yeah, well, obviously they've decided to arm themselves after the last
yeah.
surprise visit.
Yemen,
Yeah.
New Caledonia, Serbia, interesting. Montenegro, Canada, Uruguay, Cyprus, Finland, interesting. Lebanon, Iceland. I didn't realise the Nordic countries were allowed guns. Norway.
Normally, what they do is if you do military service, then you retain your weapon for civilian
Protection.
protection. Yeah,
Okay.
Again, so they can call them up quickly, so they haven't got to sort of rearm.
Okay, fair enough.
civilian gun ownership in
Might
the
have some
world,
old guns out
with
there.
120.5 firearms for every 100 civilians. To put that into perspective, Switzerland only has 27.58 firearms for every 100 civilians. This creates a scenario that military planners would probably call a strategic nightmare. It's one thing to defeat a conventional army. It's different to occupy a territory where a significant portion of the civilian population is armed and more than likely hostile. History provides sobering examples of what this looks like. The Soviets in Afghanistan, the Americans in Iraq, and various other occupations throughout the 20th century demonstrate that even the world's most powerful militaries struggle against determined civilian resistance. About 72% of American gun owners cite protection as their primary reason for ownership, suggesting a population already mentally prepared for defensive scenarios. Then there's the simple matter of scale. The United States covers approximately 3.7 million square miles, making it the third largest country in the world by land area. It is larger than Australia, which has an area of about 2.9 million square miles. The US is more than twice the size of the European Union, which covers around 1.7 million square miles. Additionally, the US is roughly comparable in size to the entire continent of Europe, which has an area of about 3.9 million square miles. The distances involved are shocking from a military perspective. The distance from Washington, D.C. to Los Angeles is about 2,700 miles. In order to sustain any kind of invasion on America, the occupying force would need to maintain supply lines across these vast distances while facing constant harassment from both organized military resistance and civilian populations. Modern military thinking focuses on quick and decisive actions because long campaigns can get really expensive and hard to manage. Given the vast size of the United States, pulling off a rapid takeover is pretty much impossible, and keeping troops in place for a long time would cost a fortune. Consider the economic cost for America during the Iraq and Afghanistan campaigns. Both campaigns involved far smaller territories and populations, but still cost the United States trillions of dollars over 2 decades. The scale required to occupy a territory the size of America would dwarf these figures by orders of magnitude. Of course, there's one last factor: nuclear weapons. The United States maintains one of the world's largest nuclear arsenals. And American nuclear doctrine makes it clear that existential threats to the homeland would likely trigger nuclear response. This creates what is also known as mutually assured destruction. Any conventional invasion large enough to threaten American territory would likely escalate to nuclear conflict long before achieving its objectives. This reality fundamentally changes the calculus for any potential adversary that is thinking about invading America. So, to return to our original question,
well, there is that, I suppose.
what would it really take to invade the United States? The answer to that question reveals why no serious military strategist considers a conventional invasion of America a viable option. It simply just wouldn't be worth it.
No.
But what do you think? Where do you think America stacks up in terms of national defense? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And be sure...
I think that's one of the main reasons. Its size and its population, and
because even if you manage to get onto the country, you would then, like I say, be facing so many small other battles that you just have to keep splitting up the forces you've got to defend any territory you've taken. Therefore, you just dwindle the size of the,
Yeah, you'd be overrun very, very
you'd be
quickly.
overrun in no time.
Yeah.
And like I said, the only sort of feasible one is like I say, some kind of nuclear attack, and then you'd be invading something that you couldn't even live on anyway. So that's the
Exactly.
old, mutually assured destruction bit, which keeps the sort of status quo, so to speak. But yes, like I say, if you sat down and looked at it, you just go, yeah, let's not bother with that one.
Yeah, there you go. We're not going to bother.
All right.
There you go.
Not going to bother. What we're going to do next?
Yeah, let's go and have a look for another country. No, good video, well put together, good information, well coveraged. So yeah, I enjoyed that one. So that I don't think we'll be following up on that one, to be honest.
No, definitely
Give
not.
it- we'll
But
give it a miss.
like you say, if you've got a tough sort of, hostile civilian population, then
Yeah.
you're not just up against the military, you're up against the rest of the country.
Yeah,
you know,
everyone's
and
going to
they'd all
defend
be
their
up-
own territory, and how small it
They
is.
are. Yeah.
There you go. All right. I hope you enjoyed that video here at
There you
Brits
go,
American Tour. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. It does help us out our
Please do.
channel. We will be back soon with another video, so make sure you stay tuned for that. This is goodbye from moi.
Oh, goodbye from him.
Him over there.
Him over there.
See you later.
Laters. Bye.